Take a look at these two videos. One of them is using a 1/8 black promise filter, while the other one is using a plugin from Film Convert called Hazy that is emulating a 1/8 black promise filter. Here, take a closer look. Which one do you think is using the physical filter? Do you think it's A or do you think it's B? I want you to leave a comment down below. So I've been using this plugin now for several months and I've been testing it out with other filters to see if I can truly emulate a physical filter. And I gotta say, I am pretty shocked at how close it is. And even when I ask people that are not in the filmmaking space, which one looked better? 99% of the time, the answer was, they look the same. So to the untrained eye, I gotta say, it's not discernible. Now, if you're not familiar with what Hazy is, it's a plugin that works with Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, and also Premiere Pro that lets you emulate what a physical mist filter can do. And the way it works is actually very easy. Now, to give you a little quick demo, in Premiere Pro, all you need to do is drag that effect onto your footage, or you can also use an adjustment layer. And then from there, you're gonna select the type of camera that you're using. Now, in my testing, I found that leaving it in the standard gamma always seemed to give me the best results. Now, the next thing you're gonna do is select the input gamma. In my case, it's Rec 709 because that's the color space that I'm working in. And then below that, you're gonna select the filter style, basically the filter that you're trying to emulate. Here you're gonna find some of the most common filters like Black Promise, Bloom, Diffusion, Glimmer, Pearlescent, even Smoke, just to name a few. Once you select the type of filter that you're trying to emulate, then you're gonna select the strength. So you can go as little as 1/8 to as much as 1, which is considered full strength. Now, what's really awesome about this plugin is even if you select a specific strength, you can still dial it in and make minor or major changes. For example, when I'm using a physical filter, let's say like a 1/8, sometimes I find it like it's too subtle, then I bump it up to a 1/4, then I find that it's a little too much. Technically, there's like nothing in between, which would be like 3/16. But with Hazy, what I can do is I can dial in the intensity, the spread, and I can kind of make my own and really dial the look that I'm going for. Now, this all sounds great, but what if Hazy can't replicate what a physical filter can do? Well, that's what I wanted to test. I wanted to do indoors, outdoors, with lights, without lights, low light. I wanted to run through different environments to see how Hazy would compare to having a physical filter on a lens. Now, for those of you who have never used a diffusion filter, why would you want to use one? Well, I'll give you a couple of examples. The first being is these cameras that we use nowadays are very sharp because we're shooting in high resolution. Like I'm filming this with the Ursa 12K. Now I'm not technically shooting in 12K, I'm shooting in 4K, but pair that with glass that is like too clinical, your image can look overly sharp. So using diffusion will help take that digital edge off of your image. So another reason why you may want to use a diffusion filter is to soften skin tones. This will give your talent smooth skin, and if they're like me where they're very oily, it'll get rid of these like shiny areas, which personally I like, and I tend to use a filter just because of that. But probably the biggest reason why most people like to use a diffusion filter is because it gives them a film look. So oftentimes when you shoot on film, whenever you're filming lights or just like areas that have a lot of light, it gives this like halation bloom effect that you typically get on film. When you add diffusion, you kind of get that effect. So in my test, what I did was I had a clean slate, meaning there's no filters in front of the glass, not even ND. I wanted to make sure that I had zero color contamination. And then from there, I tried Black Promise, Pearlescent, and even Smoke in different types of strengths. Now I started off with 1/8 Black Promise because that has been like my go-to filter for like the last 5 years, just because it's subtle. So what I did was I applied Hazy to my clean slate footage, and oh my gosh, I was shocked to the point that even the magenta shift that you get whenever you add filtration was actually there. So in case you didn't know, using these type of filters on top of your lenses may cause some color shifts despite manufacturers saying it's color neutral. That's a bunch of BS. I've tested out a bunch of filters, including some of the most expensive ND filters, and there's the slightest, yes, it's very, very minimal on the more expensive stuff, but it's still there. Regardless, I just want to let you guys know whenever you're adapting, you will see these color shifts. And also when you adapt higher strengths, you're going to notice that you're going to start to lose saturation, which you'll see here later in this video. So here's a side-by-side of what it looks like having a physical filter and using the Hazy plugin. Both have the exact same color grade, so you can see how close they match. Now let me show you what it looks like without the plugin and toggling it on and off so you guys can see the difference. So here's with it off, and now here's with it on. Now let's see how the quarter strength Black Pro Mist performs. So here's a side by side with the physical filter and Hazy. And just like I did with the 1/8, let's see what it looks like clean. Now this is with no filter or plugin. Now let's add Hazy. So here's with Hazy on. This is off. On. Off. Honestly, they were so close that it almost felt like I was testing Tiffen's Black Pro Mist versus like a different filter manufacturer. Like I was shocked. Now, I wanted to see if pearlescent and smoke were gonna give me similar results. So similar to the last setup, I did the exact same test. I had a clean slate, but this time around, I wanted to run all the filters so that you guys can see how filtration changes an image. So I had Black Pro Mist, 1/8 and a quarter. I also had pearlescent, which was 1/8, and then I had a full stop of smoke. So here's all 4 filters side by side so you can see how the color shift, but more importantly, so you can see how drastic the image changes between each one. Now keep in mind, the color grade is the exact same one on all of them. The only thing that's changing is obviously the filter and the strength. Now let's go ahead and see how they match up using Hazy. So here's some side by side using an outdoor scenario. Now, maybe it's just me, but I actually prefer the image coming out of Hazy, especially in the larger strengths. You'll notice that the color shifts are more drastic, where on the footage that I applied Hazy on, I had to actually make small color changes just to match it up. I almost felt like I had to degrade my image just to make it match the physical filter, if that makes sense. Like Hazy right out of the box looks great. Then I had to like manipulate it a little bit to match the physical filter, but when I saw it after, I'm like, ugh, I don't like it. And personally, after using Hazy now for several months, I actually prefer it over using like physical filters. Like here, take for example this is a clean image right now. There's no physical filter, but if I want to, okay, boom, quarter Black Pro Mist. Okay, that looks cool. My skin tones are a little soft. You could probably see like, look, let me turn it off. Look at the difference it makes here, and then let me go ahead and turn it on. Like, this is crazy. Like I can do this in post. Maybe I want to add some other type of effect, like maybe smoke. Or maybe I want another effect. Like I have the flexibility and I don't have to be committed, because many times I film something and then later down the road, I regret it because I said, why did I add that filter? It's too much. It's like, and then, yeah, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And honestly, one of the biggest advantages of doing this kind of work in post is you're not locked in. You can experiment, refine, and get creative after the fact. Speaking of creativity, one of the tools that I use all the time to level up my edits is Motion Array. Now, if you haven't heard of Motion Array, they're pretty much an all-in-one creative platform with stock footage, transitions, LUTs, music, sound effects, and pretty much everything you'd need to polish your videos. It pairs perfectly with something like Hazy because once I dial in the look, I can drop in one of their LUTs to finish off the edit and make it feel like a complete piece. If you head on over to Motion Array and select LUTs from the navigation bar, you can see all of the different style of LUTs that they have, from cinematic looking ones to even film inspired LUTs. Now what's really sweet is when you sign up to Motion Array, you get access to all of these LUTs. That means you can literally download every single one of them, which is probably cheaper than all of the different LUT packs out there if you really think about it. But the best part is you also get access to Motion Array's services, like I mentioned, music, sound effect, templates, and a bunch of other things that they offer. Now, if you guys are interested in trying out Motion Array, make sure you use my link, or also you can scan this QR code to get a special discount. Give them a try. I think you guys will really like them. All right, let me give you guys my final thoughts on Hazy and let you guys know if it's worth it or not. So after using Hazy now for 5-6 months, I can genuinely say, as I said before, I don't miss having physical filters anymore. In fact, I love that I don't have to pack them with me whenever I travel. Like, yes, it's not a 100% match, like it's never gonna be, but it's close enough for me that like for 98, 99% of the projects that I'm working on, it's good enough. Not to mention when you have a physical filter, sometimes there's like refractions and ghosting whenever like light hits it. Like I don't have to worry about that. Another one, this is a huge one for me, when I'm doing multicam. oftentimes like I don't have two of the same filter, so sometimes I'm doing 1/8 here, a quarter over here. Also, you have to remember different focal lengths, you have to have different filters. It's just something that I don't have to worry about when I'm on set, and I can do it later in post. Now, this doesn't really apply to me because I've already spent thousands on physical filters, but if you haven't gone down that rabbit hole and you're trying to save money or you're just trying to experiment with your footage, give them a try. It's $99, a one-time purchase, which I can actually appreciate because most of these companies, I hate these like subscription-based models. So one-time purchase, think about it. For the price of literally less than a filter, because most of these filters I've paid over $100. For less than one filter, you get a plethora of filters. And you don't have to take my word for it. There's literally a free trial. It doesn't cost you anything. Try it out. If you like it, great. If you don't, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. But yeah, I think it's worth it. I'm personally not going to use physical filters anymore unless like director or production wants me to. But for me, for my stuff, it just doesn't make sense. Anyway, that's my video for today. Make sure to subscribe so you guys don't miss out on future videos. My name is Armando. Thanks again for watching, and you will catch me in the next one. Adios.